Welcome back to Wolfing News. I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. So, I am once again late to the subject of, hey, 2.7 is finally here, and there's quite a lot of interesting vehicles to talk about. So I want to make a video talking about the top 3 vehicles of this patch, the best ones that there are, at least of the ones that I have played, and probably talk about a few of the other vehicles that I have enjoyed, but I want to consider the best. Now, I think I'm going to clickbait the title, something like top 3 jets of 2.7 red skies or something like that. Go really ill. You can understand, that's a really clickbaity title, really get you interested. What are the top 3 jets? But I'm not only going to cover jets, of course. In fact, one of the top 3 vehicles isn't even an airplane. It's a tank. We'll get to that. I want to start talking about the OP jet, the one that everyone should be talking about because, well, it is currently, in my opinion, per tier, the best jet in the game. Probably. It is the new Italian Spaghetti 2 jet. This thing is at 8.0 and sits right before the G91s. Now, from a glance, it might not seem too impressive. Its max speed is only 1,050 kilometers an hour. At sea level, its turn time is only 24 seconds, and its rate of climb is only 45 seconds. That's spaded, of course. It also only has 2 30mm cannons. So what's the big deal? Why is it so good? Well, its flight performance perhaps maybe isn't the best, but it's actually pretty good compared to a lot of other things. Now, in an up tier, it gets a little slow compared to all the afterburning things. And of course, it has no flares or rockets, so you get missiles, you're dead for, unless you can turn real hard. It does have a good turn time, so you can dodge missiles pretty good. But none of that really matters, because what actually matters is the guns it has. The 30mm Hispano HS 825s. Now, in-game, it doesn't actually tell you the stats of these guns, besides the fire rate, which is pretty high and has a good amount of shells per gun, 120 with a fire rate of 1,000 rounds per minute. But what really matters is the velocity of the shells. It's not stated anywhere, not on even the wiki yet, because it's a new vehicle, not done yet. But what from I hear, and you could probably assume this because of how long the damn barrel is, the thing has over 1,000 meters per second velocity. However fast these shells fly, they go faster than the 50 cals from an M2. That makes this thing extremely capable of taking down any enemy jets, especially at long ranges. I've been easily able to get shots off at 0.8 kilometers. I wouldn't be surprised if someone who was actually skilled in jets, unlike me, I'm kind of bad in jets, able to get 1 kilometer snipes every other game. But when you start adding that high velocity shell to the other aspects of this jet, like the fast fire rate of the guns, the high maneuverability of the jet itself, as well as it's actually not too bad for the battle rating top speed. It is a extremely good fighter, and I would highly suggest that anyone who is anywhere in the Italian air tree to quickly grind this thing out, as nerfs are coming for it. So try to get some enjoyment before the bat hits it. In fact, one nerf already has hit it. It used to only have 2 types of shells, HE or tracer rounds and AP rounds. And the AP rounds could penetrate, I think it was 92 millimeters, which made them really good at a number of things. Taking down jets was one of them, but also you could take down tanks on the ground in ground RB. Any soft targets you stumble across are almost instantly dead, and even the harder targets, full-on tanks, well, they don't often have 92 millimeters of top armor. So perhaps maybe you wouldn't take them out in one pass, but you could definitely damage them quite a lot. That is, of course, if you don't get shot down by radar-assisted AA. It is 8.0, and that's where most of the radar-assisted AA sits. Now, the other thing that they're very good at is shooting regular ground targets in air RB. That's something I had noticed. In fact, in one instance where I was facing an enemy plane, he had decided to go hide on his airfield, protected by his anti-air, and me, instead of trying to go engage a jet that was faster than me, that had assistance of AI support, just shoot the ground targets, turn the points onto my side, and now he's on the offensive, which was actually kind of hilarious because despite him having higher altitude and a better jet, I think he might have had anti-air missiles. On his first attack on me, instead of shooting me, he flew into the side of a mountain. I want to make a whole video just complaining about that guy. But regardless, unfortunately, probably because of their great performance at killing ground targets, thus getting to playing a whole lot of RP and SL, as well as being a fantastic fighter, this had gotten Gaijin a little spooked about what could happen in the future, and they promptly nerfed the aircraft. Just today, in fact, the Spaghetti 2's 30mm AT rounds for the Hispano HS 825 guns has been corrected. Weight from 360 to 220 grams. Velocity from 1080 to 1050 meters per second. RDX explosive weight from 270 to 250 grams. And this is a funny one. Incorrect belts. Ground targets, stealth, and air targets has been removed. It isn't true, though. They have completely removed the belts modification. There's only one belts now, and it is tracers. Now, Now, a funny fact to keep in note here is that they did not name a source for these changes, so I highly doubt that they are historical in any way, and they are more of sudden changes for a possible scary future they could see. Because also what happened today is FlyDaily released his video about the Spaghetti-O 2, which typically when FlyDaily makes a video, even on the worst of tanks, a lot of people, his large audience, wants to go out and play the thing. And if everyone went out and played the OP jet that can easily ground pound, can easily dominate air battles and murders tanks, well, might be a bit of a balance issue. Honestly, I could see the thing going to 8-3. I've taken to 8-3 a few times and did just about fine until you start running into air-to-air missiles and afterburners. Has a bit of a trouble with those things, but that's more of a compression issue. I don't think there's an issue with a lot of people playing the jet that performs extremely well. I think there's a number of vehicles out there that perform extremely well that Gaijin hasn't done much against, but this one, for whatever reason, needs to be nerfed. Now, it's not the only one alone in this. They also nabbed a whole lot of AP out of the Horton 229's AP belts a while back because it was really good at killing ground targets. But a vehicle that's obviously very good at killing tanks, the G91R3, has yet to receive much of any nerf. Further on than that, before the wereaboo start crying like they usually do, the A4E also has not received any nerf, despite also being just as good at killing ground targets, if not a bit better, because it carries one more air-to-ground missile. And don't tell me that those perform extremely well in ground forces, because they definitely do, especially if you're actually good at the game. But when it comes to Italy getting a vehicle that performs extremely well, it needs to get nerfed. Now, I don't necessarily think, and I haven't really played it a whole lot today because I'm making this video, I don't think it's necessarily going to perform a whole lot worse when fighting enemy aircraft. In fact, it might be maybe a little bit better, because typically when shooting aircraft, you want a big explosive 30mm grenade more so than a AP round. But it's just, you know, a little interesting that of all the jets that might need some looking after on their performance in certain game modes, it's the Italian jet that gets hit with the hammer. I'm not pointing any fingers. I'm not saying it's Bigfoot. I'm just asking questions, guys. Now, let's get on to the next vehicle, which I actually think is the best jet in the game, stat for stat, and that is actually the Chinese J7E. This jet at 11.0 is fantastic. It has 2,258 kilometers an hour top speed. I'm not going to bother to read the turn times and all that stuff, although the turn time's only 28 seconds. Performance is fantastic. Its main cannon, a little lacking for a lot of these top tier jets. One 30mm Type 30 cannon. It's a copy of the Russian one that you see on their MiG-21s. Performance-wise, I think it's kind of just a MiG-21 bis. However, this one is armed with something better than R60s, because R60s are dumb like communists. They have the PL-5B air-to-air missile. A lot of people are telling me that it's just a copy of AIM-9s or whatever. I don't know the history of it. I think they did develop it out of American missiles, but it has a maximum over G of 30 Gs, which, as far as I'm aware, is the biggest max over G of any of the missiles in game. And also what's funny is its stats aren't actually correct. It weighs less than it is in game. So despite this being modeled incorrectly, I feel like it's the best missile in the game, because damn, this missile does some crazy stuff. Now, I'm not good at jets. I'm probably never going to be good at jets, especially compared to some of the amazing things you could see out there, but I can do stuff in this jet. That's why it makes me think that this is the best jet in game. I can't do that much in a Phantom. I've never played any of the French jets because they're weird, and the British top tier jets are also Phantoms, but this jet right here is amazing. Probably, stat for stat wise, the best jet in the game. If you haven't ground out the Chinese tree yet, I'd consider doing so. I think that they got a winner right here. By the way, what is the point of being able to carry 2 PL2s and 2 PL5s? Now, the final spot, and why I kind of went to call this the best 3 jets of the patch or whatever, was because I wanted the Vixen to be amazing. I really wanted this jet to be a fantastic, amazing jet. And it's not too bad, but it's not exactly amazing. Well, it can do some amazing things. Most of the time, you really gotta like play extremely passive, because you rely entirely only on missiles. Now, you do have best missiles of the battle rating, especially when you get a radar lock. They work a whole lot better, but outside of that, that's all you have. There are, of course, other armaments, so it's not literally all you have, but you're not gonna hit someone with RP3s or RN rockets. You're gonna hit enemy jets with air-to-air missiles. Like, it's not a bad jet, but it's not as great as the Spaghetti-O 2 or the J7E are and their classes. This thing, well, I guess there is no other jet of this class, because this is like a weird support jet or a kill stealing jet. However, in that manner, it is, I guess, exactly what you want a premium to be. Something a bit weird and bizarre, not necessarily bad, but not necessarily OP. It's just interesting. And that fits perfectly with what this is. It's really weird, different. I'd say if you have the money to burn, why not get it? It's like 8,000 something golden eagles, and it's kind of fun to play. However, I feel that there's better things you could spend your money on. For a little bit more, you could get the Harrier GR1, which I guess is 10-0 and it might be a bit intimidating, but also you could get the Meteor F8 Reaper, which is a fantastic ground attacker, and probably a pretty good fighter too, at a lower battle rating. The Vixen can do a ground attack roll if need be. It's got RP3s and bombs, but not nearly as much as the Reaper does. And honestly, that's kind of how I felt with all the other new jets that I tried out. Well, there's only really one other, the F5C. It's alright. It's a premium. It'll get you the things that you want. I didn't get a test drive for the F5E. Didn't really care to. Probably will be a similar story to the F5C, but better-ish. The last vehicle I'd like to talk about, but I think is fantastic, is actually the Marder 1, or Marder A1, the new German IFE. Probably not a whole lot functionally to talk about, because I bet a lot of people have been taking this out. It's fantastic. The main gun is kind of useless for the most part. Unstabilized 20mm cannon. Best you could do hope for is to take out enemy barrels, which I haven't had too much luck with, but it probably could perform the role. And you get 4 Marlin ATGMs with 530mm of penetration. Kind of on regular paper, it doesn't sound too amazing, but for some reason it does pretty well when you don't get absolutely destroyed because you have no armor. It being an IFE, an infantry support tank, it supports the medium tanks pretty well. You can spot things like a monster. You can shoot at helicopters because you got an MG and a 20mm autocannon, and you can take out tanks from afar with the ATGMs. They're really nice. Altogether works well. I also really like the weird sound that it makes when you shoot the ATGMs. I like it more than I should. It seems they've removed the weird sound. I liked it though. Though the most notable aspect of this tank is that if you angle just right, you can actually peek over the hill, in which only your gun and ATGM launcher will be seen by the enemy, having just about all of your crew completely safe from them firing back, which puts you in a fantastic position to spot enemy tanks or fire ATGMs. Overall, a very nice tank. And for this patch, things that you should be looking forward to, those would be my suggestions. The J7E, the Spaghetti 2, while supplies last, and the Marder A1, and sort of kind of the Sea Vixen. There were some other vehicles that I took a look at, but they weren't as amazing as these three. For example, the WMA 103, it's alright. I haven't been in a position in which the rangefinder saved my life. I think the 8.3 battle rating up tiers it too much. And honestly, compared to the PTL-02, the really only positive it has against that was that it has ATGMs, because now the PTL-02 has the PT-86 100mm APFS-DS, which can penetrate 381mm, no longer stuck with the 220 pending round. It also has a laser rangefinder. Those are new in this patch, and those were kind of what the WNA was interesting about. However, now that the tech tree version as a lower battle rating has those, less interested in the tech tree version. The Concept 3 I was sort of looking forward to, but unfortunately on the live server it doesn't have a laser rangefinder, which kind of kills all my interest in it. Other than that, it's now just a regular tank, a kind of slow light tank with a gun that's worthy for its battle rating. I guess it's faster than the 17-pounder M10. Besides that, everything else I haven't played or even played against. I was kind of looking into the TAM2 IP, but I don't have any other German 8.7 vehicles. I do have a 9.3, but no 8.7s. And battleship gameplay is too boring for me to go and request the Italian battleship. So that's kind of just my opinion on all the new vehicles added. The other ones I don't care about, and those three that I talked about are fantastic, and the other few that I also talked about are alright, or at least interesting in some regard, or were interesting. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns about this video, be sure to hit the like button, because I'm going to be ending it here. But first, before I go, I'd like to thank my patrons, YouTube members, and Twitch subs. Thank you very much, guys. I love you a lot. Thank you. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, hit me up down below. If you like the video, be sure to hit the like button. If you like the video, don't hit the like button. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. I make War Thunder Weekly News every Friday and make random videos throughout the week, and I like to stream on Saturday. By the way, guys, this is supposed to be War Thunder Weekly News for last week, but I've been like putting off forever. I'll be honest, while I have been playing the Spaghetti 2, I've also been playing Just Cause 3 because a friend bought it for me. And I might move to El Salvador. In the terms of bonus news, I was exploring some rumors about the Jumbo's armor being nerfed unintentionally. What I found out was the armor had not been nerfed. It is currently performing as it always has. Another thing I found out is that people who play Germany, and primarily the Tiger, are probably the worst people who play this game. I don't understand in any degree on how they could get the Tiger to 10-3, the same battle rating as the Jumbo, when the front plate of the Jumbo has multiple weak points which the Tiger can penetrate at any reasonable distance you'll run into one in-game. game, while the Jumbo is stuck with a 75mm cannon that can indeed penetrate the cupola of the Tiger, but that only takes out 2 crew members. And if the Tiger is smart and has positioned itself, the frontal armor will be impenetrable. The side armor should be angled properly to be also impenetrable. And you should also get the first shot off. Like, Jesus Christ, guys, get it together. Even more of a question is how the Panther set down to 5-3 as well, when the Panther D can easily get through the front plate of the Tiger, can easily get through the front plate of the Jumbo almost entirely uninterrupted.